Everything ends badly. Otherwise, it would never end. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tiltingground Untitled Notre Dame USC football podcast. I'm Michael Buto. I'm here with Greg Flamon. Hi, Greg. How's it going?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
It's all over now, so a lot better. A lot better.
Yeah,
It was a rough weekend, or a rough holiday weekend for both our teams.
it was, Michael.
Oh man. Let's just start with Notre Dame. That was the bigger game. Probably a little more excitement.
Yeah. First of all, I really enjoyed your quote. It's one of my favorite quotes.
I felt it was very appropriate.
Yeah. Um. So, pretty much, yeah. Worst fears realized there.
I
Notre
mean,
Dame again.
we were talking about this before we even started. Like, what happened to Jerry Tillery?
It's never good because we talked about last week about Notre Dame's mindset, and I felt like they would have the edge to them. They don't go Ohio State wouldn't have. Just assuming that this game means something to them. A lot more to them than it does Ohio State.
Right.
Apparently, that was not the case. I think it would. So we recorded on Sunday and ran on Monday, and then Field was sent home because he missed her. And then they found out that defensive lineman Jerry Tillery was going to miss the game because he broke some rule. I assume another curfew violation. I mean, he was allowed on the sideline during the game.
So it couldn't have been that bad of a rule.
Yeah, he didn't do anything terrible. So, yeah, but he didn't play. So it's like when that happens, you just kind of like, okay, like I kind of know how this is going to go now then. Like we're not going to have a bunch of guys out of their own volition and basically, beat a team like Ohio State. That's not how it's going to go.
Right.
So, predictably,
it did not start well.
No, it did not. Just similar to like every other big game that Notre Dame's played this year.
I mean, they got down 14-0 real quick.
Real fast. I mean, it's just, they get the ball. And, first of all, like Notre Dame loves to receive if they win the toss in these games. And I'm personally, like, I always want to defer. I always feel like it's better to get the ball in the second half.
Right.
Like, you have more information. You're either building on a lead or you're shortening the lead. Yeah. So it's always – I just feel like it's more beneficial. Like any nerves at that point are gone. But they didn't. They received, and they promptly went 3 and out. And Oklahoma drove right down the field and scored a touchdown. And then on their next possession, I believe they went 3 and out again. Yes. And Ohio State promptly went down the field and scored a touchdown.
And to cap it all off, All-American Butkus award-winning linebacker Jalen Smith blew his knee out. On that very drive.
I mean, first of all, like going into the game, I felt really like it was bittersweet because I knew this was the last time Jalen was going to play for Notre Dame, and like having a guy like him on your team, like it's very rare for a Notre Dame team to have someone like him. And so it's like, like at best, all they'll get out of him is an 11-2 season and beat Ohio State. And like he's fun to watch. Like he's great. He's a great player. By all accounts, like he's a really nice kid. He's never been in trouble ever. You've never heard anything negative with him. And then he gets shoved in the back by a former Notre Dame commit in Taylor Decker, who said afterwards, like, no, it's not a dirty play. I'm just finishing the play. Well, finishing plays after the whistle blows is dirty.
I mean, as dirty plays goes, that's like low on the rankings.
Right,
but still not fair. You're right.
Yeah, like it's still illegal. Whatever's fine though. So he tears his knee up. I mean, it was dirty, like it was late, but it wasn't malicious. Like he didn't intend to hurt him.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, I don't want to put that on him. But so yeah, he kind of hyperextends his leg. It's kind of like, okay, well, we were getting bludgeoned anyway, and now our best player is out for the rest of his career, and you can just sense like it's like, oh, like we're done now. Like he's their best guy, and it's like you can just see it. Like they were already shorthanded. They've dealt with all these injuries. They had two guys missing the game because they're suspended, and then you hear the day of that Sheldon Day either has a significant foot injury and he's sick. So he's their second best defensive player. Then you lose Jalen. So you knew then it's like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to stop him at all. And they didn't. They never really stopped them. Like they maybe, like Ohio State maybe punted like twice. I can remember one. I can't remember any others. Oh no, they didn't, because in the second half Notre Dame got the fluke interception that Joe Schmidt tried to drop that fell right in his hands. So but the offense made some plays. They had some drives. But I mean, 45 points was what was going to get it done, and they didn't.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, they didn't have it in them. So
I mean, even though the offense was like scoring eventually, they looked really bad. I mean, I don't even know how they scored those points, to tell you the truth. Like, they weren't clicking. I mean, Ohio State's good, I get that. But, like, they just didn't. Like, Deshaun Kaiser didn't help anybody. He looked like he couldn't hit water falling out of a boat.
Well, they were frankly aided by Joey Bosa being ejected. Because, all their points came afterwards. And
right.
I felt like he played for, I don't know, he barely played, and he had 4 tackles already. So he was on his way to a big game. As far as him being ejected, like, I thought it was a penalty. I personally don't like the targeting rule anyway.
I didn't realize, and this is like year 2 of targeting, that it was when you lead with your head. I thought you had to like target the other person's head.
There's multiple ways to do it.
To target.
Yeah, so if you go helmet to helmet, then you will get kicked out of the game. And sometimes even not even that. But it has to be, it's so forcible contact above the shoulders. But it's also if you use your helmet as a weapon to
to hit somebody.
Right. So, and that was what he did. I mean, it's a penalty. I mean, if nothing else, like, it was late, so it should be roughing the passer anyway. But I don't like ejecting players from games. It's just a little. Why, like,
for hitting a guy in the chest?
Well, it's just like it. The people that make these rules, like, the game happens too fast. The game happens so quickly. Like, you can't. Players don't have that much control. I mean, in a split second, you make a decision, and it's like you don't even make a decision. It's just something happens, and it's like, okay, now you're out. Like, you can't play anymore. It's a little harsh for me. But so he goes out, and I feel like Notre Dame. I mean, that was when it's like, okay, like, we can block a little bit more now that they don't have their 3 top linemen. So, I mean, they did some good things. They've got good players on offense. They've had it all year. They still put up 400 yards. So
it was nice for Corey Robinson to show up.
Yeah, he had 3 straight catches. Good for him. Good for him. I mean, like you said, Kaiser, he didn't look good at really any point. I mean, I guess there were a couple of times when he looked pretty good, but he made some throws that were just like, oh man. But it's like that's what happens when you're forced to chase the game.
Right.
So.
And you're playing a tough team like Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not going to help you at all.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that I told you last week that we know what Ohio State's ceiling is, and if they reach that ceiling, like I don't know that Notre Dame can get there. Notre Dame certainly didn't put their best team out there. Like the defense they put out there in the second half. I mean, they're not that great defensively anyway. The team they put out there in the second half is just like, I mean, it rivaled what Notre Dame was last year to end the year. That's not competitive, especially like
Didn't the kid who replaced Jalen Smith, did he get hurt like a series later too?
Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder. So, and then they brought in another guy who Ohio State repeatedly picked on. And someone I was watching the game with was like, see, they're picking on Jalen Smith's backup. You see, that's why it's bad. It's bad to lose. That's why it's bad to lose Jalen Smith. And I was like, well, yeah, but it's like Notre Dame has a lot of weaknesses. Like if Jalen Smith was in there, they would have just done something different. Like as you saw, like
they would have picked on that Nick Watkins kid.
Yeah, like they picked on him. I mean, actually, he didn't play that bad, but Notre Dame's got him playing 10 yards off, so they just throw it short. Michael Thomas is a big dude, so it's like that was there whenever they wanted it. Joe Schmidt played in the middle the whole game.
Per usual.
Yeah. They would have just done other things. That just allowed them to pick on another weakness of Notre Dame. So They were going to move the ball regardless.
Ezekiel Elliott could do what he wanted. Not a problem.
He's pretty good at football.
Apparently, and flexing his muscles when he scores touchdowns.
I mean, well, he did score 4. He did score 4. I liked it. Although I did really appreciate the one where he scored and then he showed up his midriff.
Yes.
He put his jersey up underneath his pads. I thought that was cute.
He didn't know what to do. He's like, I scored 3 touchdowns.
He's like, I scored
have one ready.
And I scored 3 touchdowns, and look at my abs. I've got a 6-pack.
Well, I think one player we probably don't have a lot to talk about from the bowl game is Mr. Will Fuller. And something you've told me on this very podcast, and I may not have believed you up until, Friday, is that he doesn't play very well against big corners. And he didn't do anything all Fiesta Bowl except for when the corner slipped, and then you got to run past him. It was kind of embarrassing.
I mean, well, yes and no. I mean, I felt like Kaiser, and they showed it on the broadcast, he had a couple moments where he could have taken a shot. And even on the 81-yarder, it was a curl. So, Notre Dame never really took a shot with him, which is pretty ridiculous considering
that's what he's there for.
Fast. Yeah, he's faster than fast. So, you have to take shots with him just so it at least scares them a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, besides the one play where, like you said, the guy kind of slipped a little and, Fuller got away from everyone, he didn't have an effect on the game. He wasn't a factor. And maybe he was a factor in that, they were rolling coverages or whatever, but it's you don't get points or first downs for a team having rolled a coverage, so
right.
It's at some point, well, I'm at no point now, but you want someone to have an effect on the game in a big game like that, like Michael Thomas did.
He took what was there and every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. One thing I liked when Matthias Farley caught the punt. That was a pretty good athletic play.
It was a great catch.
I can't think. I'm trying to think of the last time if I've ever seen that. I know it happens every now and then, but
a player dive and catch a punt.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen a diving, when it's the punting team. I've never seen that.
I definitely rewound it and watched it again.
It was a very good catch. You know what I didn't like, Michael?
What didn't you like?
So after Notre Dame got the kind of miracle interception, as Ohio State was driving down the field to score to make it 35-14, and then Notre Dame goes down and scores to make it 28-21. And and you're thinking, well, if they can get another, like, find a way to stop them here, and then you can go down and tie it, and maybe we got something. And then they give the ball to Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm looking at the play, and I'm thinking, like, okay, like, they ran inside the guard, and he was not touched for
At all.
touchdown. So it's like, where is everyone? And you see the play blocked, and it's like, okay, like, Joe Schmidt got blown up, and the other linebacker got blown up, and all the linemen got blown up, but there should be someone back there. And I look at Farley, and he's running up and just engaging the receiver, who is not really even trying to block him, and nowhere near the play. And as he's hitting the receiver, Ezekiel Elliott is running straight to the end zone, like 5 yards to his right. And I was like, okay, like, that's why you don't start at safety for us. And that's why Max Redfield usually starts, but he was at home watching because he had a little too much fun. Missed curfew.
I mean, it is pretty impressive when someone runs up the middle untouched.
It is. It is.
Just straight. Just.
Yeah. So.
Well, it was a tough season. A bad way for it to end.
Well, I think, the only way to look at it, to me, like, it was a really fun team to watch. Like, there were a ton of big plays. And there haven't been a lot of Notre Dame teams like that where there's just, like, you feel like at any point there can be a touchdown.
No, I can't think of the last time.
Yeah, literally at any point. Like, they had 2 90-yard runs for touchdowns, 80-yard catches for touchdowns, kickoff returns, punt returns. So it's just a really fun season. But all in all, like, it's a missed opportunity for this team. It's like, when are you gonna have a guy like Will Fuller again?
Well, you hope soon, but.
Well, you hope so, but the guy scored 30 touchdowns in 26 games.
It's pretty good.
It's a touchdown a game. Like, every game he plays, he scores. When are you gonna have a guy like Jalen Smith? When are you gonna have a guy like C.J. Prosise? When are you gonna have Josh Adams? When are you gonna have a left tackle like Ronnie Stanley? Like, you have all these weapons, and you went 10-3 and lost to the 3 good teams you played.
Well, we mentioned him again. Let's just get into Will Fuller. So,
okay,
he said he was going to come back for his senior season, and now apparently he's going to the NFL draft.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
I'm very sad. Very sad. Mostly, I like I said, I like watching him play. He's one of my favorite players. I get it and I don't. I guess,
you?
like, what do you mean?
Like, I would have gotten it if he, had a 200-yard game with 3 touchdowns and was the best player on the field. It's like he looks pedestrian. That now you're gonna go pro? It's like, that's not how it works.
Here's the thing about him is he's put up a lot of numbers, and so his production is incredible. And, like, imagine if something like what happened to Jalen happens to him, and all of a sudden his speed is in question. Because his speed is his greatest thing.
Right.
Like, we say it, but I can't stress it. Like, he is incredibly fast. Like, he is crazy fast. So if he doesn't have that going for him, then he's just a kind of small receiver who has shaky hands. But it's like if he goes to the combine and runs like 4.2 something, and it's like, hey, that guy ran 4.2 and he scored 30 touchdowns at Notre Dame.
That's true. I mean, then he's first-round talent,
So,
no doubt.
yeah, I mean, so, like I guess the way I look at it is, and I think not just Jalen's injury, but like the fact that Jalen's coming out and Ronnie Stanley's coming out and Pro Size is coming out, like all these guys like are probably talking to each other, and they're probably like, yeah, like if I think if Jalen Smith was coming back, I almost feel like all of them are coming back because it's like, well, he's better than all of us.
Right.
And
I could see that.
He's still here. Like, if he's better than everyone, like he's just, so like, I feel like when Stanley goes and Smith goes, and then it's like, well, Kamari Russell's going because he doesn't even he doesn't want to be there. Like, you could tell right away. Like, I always knew, like, okay, he does not want to be here. I mean, when you're on the Showtime series, admitting to your coach that you're not even trying in practice for 6 weeks, like, oh yeah, for the first 6 weeks, like I wasn't giving my effort there. And
Poor form.
Kelly's like,
Poor
what?
form.
Yeah, and Kelly's like, what, like a prima donna? He's like, yeah, like a prima donna. I was like, oh, okay, so he's
just
invested.
Accepts it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's invested. That's great. He's a senior. So you knew what he was in it for. So, like, all those three guys are coming out. And so, for Pro Size and Fuller, it's like, well.
What are we sticking around for?
Yeah, like, what, like, hey. Like, and Fuller's got to be thinking, well, I'm better than CJ Pro Size is. And I'm better than Kamari Russell. So, like, they're leaving. Why would I stay? And CJ Pro Size is probably thinking, well, I mean, I did get hurt all year. And it's one thing, it's like Russell, Pro Size, Stanley, like they all have their degree, or they're all going to have their degree. So, Fuller and Smith, I mean, Jalen Smith, obviously, I mean, the guy was supposed to be, like, he was never coming back.
No.
And Fuller, he probably just said, well, I mean, I'm just going to cash in on, my 2 good seasons, which, I mean, basically, like, it's terrible as a fan because,
well, of course,
you want these guys to want the championship. Like, no, I'm going to come back and win a title. It's like, I think I texted you, like, when they sign, I want to help Notre Dame win a national championship. That's what I'm here for. And then when they leave early, well, it's been my dream to play in the NFL. Like, no one talks about a championship. Like, no one's talking about it then, Because if you look at it, like, what have these guys done at this school?
Nothing.
Nothing. They've done nothing. Like, what did they do at Notre Dame? Like, Will Fuller doesn't even, like, he's not in the record books in any significant way. Like, he doesn't have the most yards, he doesn't have the most touchdowns, he doesn't have the most catches, like, he doesn't have anything. He has a bunch of big plays, which were awesome. And I'm not hating on the kid. But, like, and Jalen Smith as well. Like, he's the Butkus Award winner, and that's great. Like, they didn't beat anyone this year. They didn't beat anyone last year. It's like, I mean, what? You beat USC, who 5 other teams beat?
We'll get to that.
Yeah, but like, you beat Navy? Like, great. We beat the best Navy team ever. Cool. Like, I mean, so, like, they didn't do anything. And so you want them to say, like, no, like, I didn't do what I came here to do. But, I mean,
realistically, you can't expect someone to say that.
I was thinking about it today. Not even pros, right? So let's say, like, I played, we both played football in high school. If we were being recruited, right, as juniors, okay, in high school, and for whatever reason there was some provision where a college could offer us a scholarship, and after our junior year in high school, they could be like, you can come to college with us right now. And you don't even have to graduate high school. Like you can stop whatever you're doing right now and just come to college and play in college. And let's assume in this hypothetical that we're physically able.
Right.
Like, of course you do it.
Wouldn't even think twice.
Yeah, especially if all your buddies on your team are also doing that. It's not like you're the only one. It's like, no, not just me, but 4 other guys on my team are doing that. Like, of course.
No, I get it.
Of course you do it. And that doesn't even, you don't even get money for that. And so, like, these guys, like, they get money to go.
And they don't have to do homework anymore.
Exactly. And it's like, look, it's like, wait, like, all these classes that I'm signed up for next semester, like, I don't have to go to them.
I don't have to do anything at 8 in the morning.
And then, and then in 5 months, like, I'm going to wake up and there's going to be like $500,000 in my bank account. Like, that sounds amazing.
I don't have to listen to the coach anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I totally get it. Like, it's, they should do it. And it's like the work that they put in. And it's like I said before, like, about Jalen. It's like Will Fuller, I have nothing bad to say about him. Like, from like everything I've seen from him, he scores a touchdown, he celebrates with his teammates every single time. He hands the ball to the ref, he celebrates with his teammates. He's not flashy. He doesn't do me stuff. He's a great kid, never been in trouble. Never seen an attitude thing with him.
He seems actually super quiet for a wide receiver too.
He totally is. So like it's just his hard work that got him here. So I mean, I can't really criticize. I wish he was staying. I wish Notre Dame had gotten more out of him as far as like winning, taking advantage of the time that he had. Same with Jalen, same with Ronnie Stanley, same with Prosai, same with all of them. But, onward and upwards, you just try to restock, hopefully the next batch can get it done.
All right, well, I think we'll recap the entire season next podcast. And so let's switch it over to the University of Southern California Trojans, who looked terrible in the Holiday Bowl against the Wisconsin Badgers. I don't even know. The game feels like so long ago now, but it was just such a hard.
Like a while ago.
It was such a hard watch.
I stayed up so late for this, Michael, and so did you.
Actually, this is a true story. I was watching the game, and I was cooking. So, and the first quarter wasn't even on ESPN. So I had to go find it on some channel. Right. I was watching it on my phone. I think I was watching it on my phone.
Yeah.
And nothing happened, so it was okay.
Yeah.
And then I ate dinner, watching the second half, whatever. I got to halftime. I paused my TV to go clean up or something. Came back, started watching it to catch up. I fell asleep. Woke up after the game and had to watch it. Then I went media blackout and had to watch it in the even weird hours of the night.
Oh my
God. It was so much worse.
Michael.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I was so mad at myself too. It was such a hard watch, man. Like, that offense just looked terrible.
And then they didn't win.
Oh yeah, they didn't win. So in case anyone missed that, USC did not win. They lost. They only scored like 21 points or something.
Yeah.
It was garbage. Yeah, man. It was 21 points to Wisconsin's 23. It was the first half was super boring. I guess this fourth quarter was pretty exciting because it was a close game.
It kind of was, yeah.
But
definitely, it kept me up. So
yeah, getting there though was a problem. I mean, what? I think they only ran the ball. I used to have it, not counting sacks, like 23 times. Thanks, Clay Helton.
Well, a solid 8 for Ronald Jones.
The most explosive player on the team, you mean?
Yeah.
One of. You'd think that would mean that Justin Davis had a bunch of carries, but he didn't. He only had 12.
He didn't get a lot of yards either.
No. I guess they had like a patchwork offensive line, but still.
They did.
But still. I mean, you're playing Wisconsin. Wisconsin's not great.
I think you got to find a way to get the ball to Ronald Jones.
I mean, you'd think that what was it, 9 touches? It's not quite enough.
Yeah, 9 total. No, could use a little more.
I mean, why don't they put him back on kickoffs instead of Justin Davis? I feel like that makes more sense since Ronald Jones doesn't get that many touches anyways.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, I'm not a special teams coach.
Why is it that against Notre Dame it was Juju Smith and Adoree Jackson?
I think once Juju Smith got hurt, they took him off kickoff.
I got you. Yeah.
It was kind of like, all right, this is dumb. We shouldn't have our two best offensive players returning kickoffs. This is stupid.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some things that made me mad over the course of the game before the ending, which infuriated me. I mean, they weren't even running good plays. I don't know how to describe it like accurately.
Yeah,
it's like so vanilla.
I felt like the game plan. I feel like there wasn't really a game plan. Like I felt like they were just kind of calling plays like at random, and like every play that they made was just kind of like someone making a play. Like
yeah, it was all big plays. None of it was like consistent drives.
Yeah, ever. Like a broken play. So like they chucked it deep to Juju Smith-Schuster, and he makes a catch. And then, I mean, I'm just talking about like the one drive when they went down and scored. I want to say I can't remember exactly when it was. Game's a little too long ago, but they hit along with the Smith, and then they had a big third down, and they called. I mean, we've been calling for Jalen Green to throw the ball.
Oh yeah.
So he goes in motion, and he hasn't been in the game all game. So it's like, okay, obviously, they're gonna try to throw with him. So he goes in motion, and then he turns and they throw it to him, and he wants to throw a pass, but they cover the guy. So then he runs completely across the field, and I mean, it was a great effort by him, and he gets the first down. And
what a fluke!
Like, is that a great play call? Or like on another one when they had another third down where they threw it to Adoree Jackson underneath, and if he just gets tackled, like he doesn't get the first down by like 5 yards. But somehow he's like $150 and he runs over a guy. He puts his head down and runs over a guy, and then he gets down to the 2, and he makes a play.
No, it was all plays like that. It was all just big plays and then garbage.
Yeah, like Cody Kressler, like scrambling around. He made a play to someone one time I think it was over the middle. Someone made like a sprawling catch.
It was like one of the tight ends.
That was the other one. No, it was the one that on the touchdown. So he's scrambling around, and he throws a bullet to the tight end that's intercepted by Darius Rogers.
Yes, that happened. That's a real thing that happened.
And they scored a touchdown on the play, and that kind of signifies the whole game. And I was thinking, like, okay, like when it happened, I was like, oh, he was definitely not throwing it to him. It was a great catch. I mean,
no, it was, but it just wasn't what was supposed to happen.
Yeah. So, but it was just like that sort of thing. Like, and it was what we talked about. Like, SC has great athletes and they have great players, and sometimes that can carry the day. And without that, like, they shouldn't be anywhere near in this game.
No, it looked like Wisconsin could run the ball like whenever they wanted.
The funny thing is, Mike, is that they looked. This was the worst they've looked all season, and like since Clay Helton was named the coach,
right,
on offense, in my opinion, because they looked bad against like Washington, but Sark was still there.
Yeah, that was a whole different thing.
I feel like since Clay Helton was brought in as the interim guy, and then I felt like on offense they did pretty well. I mean, they just lost some games because their defense wasn't very good. And then they fire all the defensive coaches. And then the defense actually looks okay. And the offense, which now has the head coach and the offensive coordinator to be in T. Martin, looks discombobulated, misguided, and just sloppy and terrible.
Ugh, I know, man.
It
And then
was crazy.
the best part was when that kid got the 3 sacks in a row. Jack Sitchy.
I was going crazy.
I
Oh,
couldn't.
I was going off on Twitter this whole game, by the way.
Greg was. That's a fact.
Um,
The same guy gets 3 sacks in a row.
why why can't and you know I want to take this back to Notre Dame or anything, but my goodness, can Jalen Smith ever like be used in this role? Like, can we just send like Brian Van Gorder like the tape of this Wisconsin kid just being sent on blitzes on every freaking play?
It's like, oh, why not? What do they have to lose? Absolutely nothing.
Just really quickly, Jalen Smith had the same amount of quarterback hurries as Joe Schmidt this year.
That's embarrassing.
And the number was 6. 6 quarterback hurries, 1 sack, and that was in the first game.
Well, he's got to be back in coverage.
This kid from Wisconsin, who is going to be in sales when his football career is over, had 3 sacks on 3 consecutive plays.
And he had 6 tackles, 6 solo tackles. He missed the first half of the game.
What? He missed the first half of the game?
Yeah, didn't he get in trouble for targeting the game before?
Oh, I don't even know.
I'm almost positive that's the story, is that kid didn't even play the first half.
That's crazy, though.
Oh, man. I know. Yeah. Let's see. You made me think of something. I don't. What was it? Oh, when we were talking about Adoree Jackson. So what kind of makes me mad, and the defense, this will tie in. What kind of makes me mad is, like, Adoree Jackson's running over people now. like the corner can't even guard him because he's too fast. He just runs like an in route. And the corner can't keep up. They just throw it over the middle. And now he's running people over, and he could always run around people. And then on defense, that garbage Wisconsin receiver caught like 4 or 5 balls on Adoree Jackson. It's like, let's just let him play offense. Like, why even bother with the cornerback stuff?
Well, I think it's important to remember at this point that he's actually just a track athlete and a long jumper playing football. So
this is true.
You know, I mean, if they brought in any random track athlete and put him on the football team, whatever he did, you'd be impressed, right?
I guess.
So there you go.
That's what I'm saying. It's a square peg round hole. Like, offense seems to be easy for them, and they just run dumb plays. That's why they don't work. Like, defense is hard.
Defense is hard.
It takes technique and work and time. It's like, just cut it. Just let them practice running routes in practice all day. Who cares? Defense is garbage anyways. It's not like he's the one thing keeping it together.
Oh, that's my train of thought. Oh yeah. So to kind of piggyback on this about Adoree Jackson, like playing corner. Like, are we sure he's good at corner?
No, I don't think he is. I mean, he's all right.
Because the best thing that Will Fuller did this year was kind of turn Adoree Jackson into like a highlight reel.
That happened.
Like on the first play this happened of the game, and then like long pass interference penalty, and then the long catch in the second half. Like, not a lot of plays being made defensively for Mr. Adoree Jackson.
No, 1 interception in 2 years.
Yeah, that's not a lot. And I feel like he's always kind of out there. So
he does play a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he needs to go work on the long jump so that he can jump further, and then,
I don't know.
Let me just look here. So Adoree Jackson is second on the team in pass breakups this year. Okay,
well, that's good.
So that's 8. He had 1 less than Iman Marshall. And
who's pretty good, by the way.
I think
Iman Marshall's gonna be pretty good when it's all said and done.
Well, he's a big kid. He's
Like
big
he's
and
a
strong.
pretty good tackler too.
He did get a defensive pass interference on Wisconsin's first possession, though. That was,
I mean, we knew that was going to happen. They just had to get it out of the way.
That poor kid. I'm telling you. Adoree Jackson, 9 passes broken up last year, which was good for tied for second on the team. So see, Michael, he's, I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'm actually that's not that good.
I know. It's less than 1 a game. And I'm pretty sure they're throwing at him. So.
More than once a game.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry. All right, let's get to the big moment for USC. So they're down. Let's see, they're down 23-21. Well, I guess there's 2 actually. And USC has the ball. There's about 2 minutes left, maybe a little more. And they're driving down there. They're going to start their drive. Cody Kessler goes to throw his last pass as a Trojan, and he gets intercepted. I thought, first I think to myself, man, what an appropriate way for him to end his collegiate career. Like, he gets his pass intercepted. It wasn't really his fault, but it still got intercepted. And then USC actually gets the ball back. And there's seconds left. And they actually get down the field a little bit. They're driving down the field. And now there was 1 play left. There's about 7 seconds left. And there's 1 play. They're going to throw a Hail Mary. And everyone's lined up. And they're like, okay, here it comes. They're throwing deep to Juju Smith-Schuster, excuse me. And they throw an out route to Darius Rogers that's 2 yards short of the first down. And then I say, that's the way Cody Kessler's college career should have ended. It was just so awful. It was so awful. Like, I get the idea. Like, okay, there's still, if we can get this play off and get a first down, we got 1 more shot. If we can get out of it, if everything goes perfect, we got 1 more shot here. I understand. They run a pattern that's like 2 yards short of the first down. Oh, and like when he threw the ball, he knew it was short of the first down. Like, I don't even know what they were thinking.
I have very many questions. So you're saying they checked to an out route?
So according to my sources, this was Darius Rogers and Cody Kessler came up with this on their own.
When you say they came up with it, like did they like in the huddle, like where they were like, oh, actually, they called him running out. Like, did you mean that, or did they like go on audible?
No, I assume everyone else ran to the end zone. It wasn't like everybody else was running comebacks. It was maybe he signaled when they were lined up, or did they have some hand signal? I don't know. Yeah. I didn't bother to watch it again. It made me mad the first time, so I didn't want to see it again.
Right.
I don't know, but that's what I heard. Is those 2 came up with it on their own.
I mean, I don't know. It was totally bizarre. It was like really funny.
It was the worst play in the world.
Like what? A 4th and 10, 7-yard out route.
That's what they needed.
No time on the clock?
With no time on the clock.
It's pretty key. It's not good for Cody Kessler when before when it was his 2-minute drill. So the 2-minute drill starting. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send a tweet about this being Cody Kessler's last 2-minute drill, and I'm gonna be super clever. And I go on Twitter, and like 5 people have already said, like, oh God, here comes the Cody Kessler 2-minute drill. And these are people like, so I don't follow USC people on Twitter. So these are like random, like just casual fans of football, like who know that Cody Kessler is horrible at 2-minute drill. And he did not disappoint, Michael.
No. It's pretty impressive that he had the interception and the pass short of the first down with no time left.
It's pretty impressive that he had the interception, and that wasn't the worst thing he did in the 2 minutes ago.
It's over now.
Kid, that poor kid.
It's over now. So, I mean, hopefully to help the passing game next year, the Trojans brought in – actually, I take that back. The Trojans did bring in Clay Helton's brother, Tyson, but he's the running backs coach and passing game coordinator, which is weird.
Running backs coach?
Yeah, that's what I read today, right before we started. Doing a little research. And I guess we thought he was going to be the quarterback coach, but it said running back coach. Unless I'm illiterate, which is a possibility. And then they brought in the offensive line coach from Western Kentucky as well. So, I mean, that seems like, upgrade for USC when you can bring in Western Kentucky's coaches.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. The Western Kentucky online coach.
Yep. And allegedly they're waiting for Clancy Pendergrass to become the defensive coordinator again.
I thought he said no. I thought you told me that.
I did tell you that, but he's this is what I hear. And I don't know. Grain of salt here, everybody. But he doesn't want to go to college because he's worried he'll never get to coach in the pros again.
Mm.
But since the coaching staff is in disarray in San Francisco, he may not have another choice.
So is he going to, I guess, is he just going to wait and see if he gets another college job? I mean, another pro job, I mean?
I guess he's trying to hold out as long as he can. But I think SC really wants him for some weird reason.
Well, they really want him because they want to tell recruits who the coach is going to be.
Well, right, but I mean, they got the guys from Western Kentucky and no problem. I mean, you could get it. If you really just want a coach, you can get a coach.
No, I know, but that's the coach that they want. See,
right.
What we've seen from USC, it's like, well, they don't want to go vet out like new people.
No, they don't have time to interview. That's not a USC thing.
Yeah, and because honestly, Michael, like they went and got Western Kentucky. I mean, that's low hanging fruit.
It's the coach's brother.
Yeah, like I'll just get my brother to do it, and his buddy is really good on the offensive line. We really liked what we did in our running game, so why don't we have them do it?
Oh, it's just garbage.
It's like this is like super lazy, like that, And so it's like Clancy Pendergrass, who it's like, hey, like we know what he's about, so we don't even have to interview him.
Ugh, it's terrible.
I can't, like this is honestly like it's completely comical.
No, it really is, and I am pretty much at a loss for words, actually. So
it's kind of crazy. I mean, look, and like, and what do I want to say? Like, in all justification or in fairness, like Clancy Pendergrass is 100 times better than Brian Van Gorder is. So,
I think that's a good place to end it right there. Clancy Pendergrass is better than Brian Van Gorder. Just a nice little pin in today's podcast.
Well, do you want to talk about the playoffs for like a second?
I mean, what's really there to talk about? Like Alabama killed and
beat up on Oklahoma.
So I mean, but I don't know who else should have been there. Like Iowa looked terrible at Stanford.
I don't know. I thought maybe just a little Alabama looked good and Iowa looked terrible, and I don't know. Like I kind of feel like Ohio State, right? I mean, they probably should have been in that thing.
Probably after Michigan State looked so terrible.
I was mad at Justin. I emailed him and I was like, hey, dude, like, why couldn't you guys just beat Michigan State and then Notre Dame wouldn't have to deal with this?
I know, right?
It's unbelievable. So, I mean, look what Michigan did. Look what Michigan did to Florida. And then look what Ohio State did to Michigan.
I know. It's just crazy, man. It's just craziness out there. So yeah, so I mean that's where we are with that.
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, subscribe on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. When you're subscribing on iTunes, please leave a review. Follow us on Twitter. It's Tiltingground. We tweet all the newest episodes and anything else that goes up on the website. I'm Michael Buto on Twitter. Greg, what's your Twitter?
Greg2126.
Greg had a good bowl week for Twitter, so you guys all missed it if you weren't following him.
Oh yeah.
I think that's all we got. We'll come back next week with a season wrap up and fight on.
Go Irish.